Are you in heaven, or is heaven in you? Go somewhere alone and be anonymous for a while. Anonymous, a non-muse or an observer, and just observe and feel your body totally. Be totally in your body, totally inhabit your body and feel every organ. Alright, let's get into it. Any institution holding your attention is a concentration camp. So anybody in the cycle of work, eat, work, eat, work, eat is in a concentration camp like anybody, because it's holding your attention. And everybody is afraid of knowledge or greater knowledge because knowing better destroys your current support system. As soon as you know better, your whole life begins to shift because you realize more of yourself and more of your body, more of your energy, more of your will. So then your crutches, your true self starts to kick the crutches away, and all of it starts to collapse around you, and you just have to apply the knowledge that you know, or you would just engage in parasitic activity because you're trying to live the life that you once lived, but that person has to die. Again, anytime that you cry, you're crying for the person that you once were before an event happened, whether it be somebody dying or something like that. You're crying because you can no longer be the person you were after the event. So you're really crying for your own funeral. So it just really comes down to knowing your energy more and more, and you get comfortable or get into a different plane or a different support system. It's just the energy arranging itself to where you're self-sufficient. And truly, anybody that knows themselves should name themselves. This is the era of possession, or the title wave. You know, everybody's possessed and into possession and calling and naming things. Name your dog, name your relationship, name this, instead of just being. You know, everybody's just doing and naming and calling things and measuring, and that leads to being forgetful. When we just exist and everything flows, and we can see that it's just all the same. Everything is the same and just in different arrangement. So let's get into a little more. As far as eating in general, whenever you're eating at the dinner table with your family, if everybody's engaging in frivolous talk that really doesn't build and it's not knowledge of self, then it is a lie. Anything that is not the knowledge of self really is a lie. Anything that doesn't remind you of your own divinity really is a lie. So, like I said, like pictures and all that stuff that reminds you of your humanity. Again, anything reminding of you of the human part of you reminds you, it takes you away from the immortal observer that you really are. So, really, when we're chewing and eating these foods in this illusion of being a human, if it's a lie, then we're attaching lies to the food the substance that we're chewing. Again, lies birth parasitic thoughts birth physical parasites, and then we birth a reality that is parasitic. So it has a lot to do with the constant distraction. Again, everybody's just constantly distraction as things flow through them. So they're not going through things are going through them, but they're distracted while this is happening. And so, you know, we reap what we sow in that sense, because we're not totally conscious of what flows through us. So the absorption is lacking in a sense. So we have constant distraction from the circumcision, the vaccines, the school, the religion, the video games. You know, it keeps you from seizing the day. And you can't seize the day unless you see the day. How can you live your dreams if you don't see your dreams? You have to know your dreams, and what you call dreams. So, and again, when it comes to perspective, on a side note, we could talk about aliens or what have you. The earth itself is a conscious entity. The earth couldn't be conscious of itself until something else observed it. Every vessel of consciousness provides a perspective for other vessels all vessels of consciousness in existence. Again, everything is self-actualized and self-realized to manifest the possibilities of infinity. Because, of course, self just is. So for self to experience itself, it must create something that could observe itself, which is just another piece of itself, if you can follow me that far. So I'm just here, just reminding you how you used to think before you were taught to think in a language, you know. And plenty of you are starting to see things or feel things that you probably don't have a connection to as an adult, but as the child part of you, it's something that's reminding you of something, whether you're afraid of it or whatever you tied to it. And really it just has a lot to do with, this is the high hell bumping into the low heaven, what some people call the low heaven, or the lower levels of heaven or whatever. We're just changing frequency as far as this plane of existence. It's just changing frequency. So it's just a collision happening. You know, like basically the water rising or the water receding. So heaven is in you. You are not in heaven, and really it just comes down to just realizing your own powers. Like I said, no one can realize your powers but you. So it's funny when people tell you that you're strong, but it has nothing to do with being strong or above, you know, because somebody just recently told me that I was strong because I'm above influences of substances. But really it just comes down to having been under the influence of substances so long that now I just have a different value system where I can appreciate my powers, and I value those more than the substance. It doesn't make me any stronger than anyone. It just makes me more realized, I guess you could say, if you can quantify it in more or less. So, yeah, I mean, it's the more you express self, the more you get in touch with your energy and inhabit your entire body, the more you'll realize that when you go through these phases of expression, that every urination is an excretion of emotion. Water is emotion. Every time you get new air in, you get new thoughts in. Every time you get rid of any form of excrement, it's a form of getting rid of something. And any traces of it, you know, if anything stays behind, then those thoughts stay behind. So, and the last note for as far as projection or insisting, because no one really exists. This is all an insistence. And of course, when we're talking about electrons, protons, and these different things, you can never give a definitive point for where they are because they don't really exist. It's just us insisting that they exist. Nothing really exists. It's just an insistence. So when we have people that are supposedly white or pale, it's just a projection from, it's like a branch from a dark root from somewhere else, from another plane. So if someone is pale, they are on this plane as a visitor. They are, you know, and it's supposed to be an exchange of knowledge of self from different planes. But we are in disequilibrium, and now we have this problem where people are trying to stay longer than the lesson plan. So then parasitic activity has to happen. So it's just a part of that, just holding on. Again, just, you know, Freud or Sick Man Fraud might have been onto something when he was talking about holding on to shit or letting go of shit, being anal, what have you. You know, he probably, of course, observed it from someone else, or what people will call stealing, but might be some sense in that. As far as extended stay or being on a plane longer than the lesson plan, you're going to have to shift the way you maintain equilibrium. You can't, you can't be eating dense animals, or, you know, maybe even plants. Your body will have to shift. Again, the support system will shift the more you know. And then that might bring fear for the body, but the body can't control you. You cannot let the body and the emotions control you. So as far as that goes, you just got to realize that anytime you are projecting from another place, from your true source, that you will, to others, likely be appearing as pale. And then if you're in your natural spot, anybody that's appearing as pale is coming from another plane. So it's all for an exchange of knowledge of self from different planes of existence in different realms. But of course now it's a disequilibrium because people are staying or trying to stay on and hold on to things that aren't really here. All this distaste for metaphysics, and humans are mastering how to hold on to what isn't there. It's just funny. Anyway, enjoy R Bud Vegan, the ebooks on Amazon. Again, it's R Bud Vegan. There's 28 texts. The Alchemist Cookbook, Sleep Paralysis, Socially Paralyzed, the Kate Day Cleanse, the Eye Manual. Some are $3, some are $5, and some are $10. ROYALT 512 for the PDFs, so that you can print them out and email them to people. Email them to your friends and family, because I know some people don't really like ebooks. And again, it's ROYALT 512 at Yahoo. You can email me for any inquiries that you have. Again, thank you for listening, and enjoy the view.